Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Tailoring Talk. Yes, it's me, not Bobby hosting. Shocker. More on that later. This is the show where we get under the hood of movies, style, tech, and pop culture. I'm your host, John, and today, buckle up. We're driving into a nitrous-fueled street races, undercover cops, tuna sandwiches, and the very beginnings of a global juggernaut franchise. Yes, we're talking about the Fast and Furious, the 2001 original that launched it all. If you have been following this show, and I'm sure you have, you'll know we've just finished our marathons through Bond and Mission Impossible. But this next saga is something different, less tuxedos and MI6 gadgets, more muscle cars, NOS tanks, and a whole lot of talk about family. And you'll notice that Bobby is dressed for the occasion tonight if you're watching the video podcast. He's donned the white T-shirt. He's flexing his guns.
Can we CGI this?
Yeah, add more muscle
bigger
in post. Yeah. I have Bobby and I have Alex as my co-host this session, this race circuit that we're on this evening.
Good evening, sir.
Let's set the scene. Boys. First of all, have you all seen the film?
I have seen it loads and loads and loads during my 20s and early 30s.
Yeah.
And so I've seen it before, put it that way.
You've seen it before. Alex, have you seen it before you watched it recently?
I think I've seen it before, but I don't have a lot of memories of it, to be honest. So
And
I think
did you
I was
watch
out
it?
drinking and clubbing at the time, so I don't think
Oh, well,
it was,
yeah, cool
it
cat.
was high on my list.
Did you watch it on a telly box or did you watch it at the cinema?
Must have been a telebox. Yeah,
Right,
I don't
okay.
think it was a cinema.
2001, I would have been 28, something like that.
42.
So
Wow.
mid-20s. Yeah, I don't think I saw it at the cinema. I think I saw it on the TV when it came out later, to be honest.
I saw it at the cinema.
You did?
I remember the day because I bunked off work. I made an excuse that I had a
Yep.
meeting with a client, and I basically went to the View Cinema in Acton, and I saw it there, and then I went back to work like for an hour, and then it was time to go home anyway.
That's pre-gentrified Acton, if I remember rightly. That was up-and-coming Acton in those
Yes,
days.
it was not gentrified at that point.
it was
I
not.
lived in Acton for a period,
Yeah.
so I know it well.
I remember a very, very good kebab shop in Acton where I used to frequent because a friend of mine lived in Acton, and we went in and found the owner of the kebab shop rolling the kebabs on the floor with his bare feet to get in the right shape. We never went there again.
Nice.
Luckily, I can't remember the name of the place, or maybe unluckily if you've been there. Let's get back on the right tangent here now. So let's quickly talk about the background for the film. Now, I found out something really fascinating whilst researching this. So yeah, the film was released in 2001, directed by Rob Cohen. It was loosely inspired by a Vibe magazine article about illegal street racing in New York. And it took me a while to find it on an Internet Archive to read this article, but I did read it. And it's scary close to the article in terms of the actual character. So the article, written by Ken Lee, I think his name is, Ken Lee, is about the real-life antics of a street racer called Rafael Estevez, who looks, from the photographs, a little bit like Vin Diesel, but apparently he was a little bit more wide around the waist than Vin Diesel is in these films, and indeed Bobby on our video right now. But it's a fascinating read about how he goes from kind of early drag racing on the Brooklyn and Queens, all the way through to actually competing in a race, gaining some sort of notoriety and sponsorship, and then racing with the big boys. So, yeah, if you look at some of the description in the article about the various different groups at street race and so on, there's a lot there that has been inspired. So, let's think about the actual content of the film. So, this movie swapped tuxedos for tank tops. It gave us poor old Paul Walker as Brian O'Connor, a cop sent undercover to bust a crew of truck hijackers. But once he steps into the world of Dominic Toretto, which was played by Vin Diesel, as we all know, in his full gravel-voiced alpha mode, family, lines blur, loyalties shift.
That wasn't his thing, though. But
No,
we'll
it
come
wasn't.
on to that.
We'll come to that. And suddenly, it's not just about busting criminals; it's about choosing where you belong. So, we've talked about when we saw it. We might get some more feelings from gents here about how you feel about it now, 30 odd years later, 24 years later. So we look at basically a series of hijackings. We have a sleek, mysterious, adrenaline-charged look to the film. Brian is kind of ingratiating himself into the LA street racing scene. He loses to Dom, but wins respect. And then we have things like the NOS, the green underglows, and lines like "I live my life a quarter of a mile at a time," among others. There's one very famous one later on, which we can perhaps discuss. When you first watched it, I'll ask Bob this here because you mentioned this before the podcast. How did you feel about the film when you first watched it as a young 28-year-old?
I wasn't 28. I was a lot younger.
Sorry,
than that.
You're younger than that. So that's me. Sorry.
Early
As a young 17-year-old.
Early 20s.
Yeah.
No, it was awesome. I straight away on the way back went to the petrol station, bought some Red X, and stuck it in mixed it in with my petrol, and felt that my Fiesta 1.4 Gear X went faster. I loved it. I absolutely loved it. As soon as it came out on DVD, I bought it. I might even have had it on VHS actually, but definitely on DVD. And I used to just watch it all the time. And then the soundtrack, I had both, because there were two soundtracks. There's the music from and inspired by, which has got a lot of the rock stuff on it and so on. And then there's the actual music from the film. Oh, no, hang on. It's the other way around. The R&B soundtrack is the inspired by. And then the tracks from the film are on a second album, which is more Fast and Furious. And that's got like Hoobastank and all those other great tracks on. But there's soundtrack still to this day. I listen to it, and you can't download the full thing because they haven't licensed the full album on
It's a
any
bit like the
streaming
GTA
services.
soundtrack, isn't it?
Yeah.
Games.
So you actually have to buy it in iTunes. But yeah, no, absolutely freaking loved it. 1, 2. Yeah, 1 and 2, Too Fast, Too Furious. I used to watch that one a lot as well. And then Tokyo Drift. I remember Tokyo Drift. I'm going off point now, but I just want to make this point because memories just popping into my head. But I remember going into Virgin Megastore in Oxford Street, and I was just kind of looking through, and Fast and Furious. It was like the Fast and the Furious. Do you remember you had like the yellow things with the names of the films in alphabetical order? Yeah. So you had like the Fast and the Furious, and then it was Too Fast, Too Furious, and then the next section was the other one.
Because thinking back to all of them, like I think the other one, which was Tokyo Drift, wasn't it? Really?
Yeah.
I have exactly the point you're making. I have the least amount of memory of that film, and I wonder if I even watched it the first time round.
I didn't watch it the first time round. I watched that film later, and actually, I didn't think it was that at the time. I didn't think it was that bad a film. My view might change in a couple months, but
upcoming
when we get to it. But yeah, I
Alex,
thought it was pretty good. The girl in it.
Have you seen all?
I remember that.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Have you seen all the films, Alex?
No. I remember watching this one, and then I might have seen Too Fast, Too Furious, and then I went off the boil. And I just stopped.
So you've not seen any of the other ones, even the new ones?
Well, it's hard to get into it because you've got to get invested. So I'm looking forward to going on the ride with this one.
Nice.
But I'm kind of somewhat regretting my choices now. Is that we had some other choices we could have gone for.
We did. Well,
so
they'll come up later on.
But I think it'll be an interesting series. But I've been told it gets better.
I mean, the Fast and Furious is a bit of a cultural phenomenon, though, isn't it? I mean, at the time it first came out, we were right in the middle of lad culture. The Loaded magazine. Mm-hmm. We had other films like Gone in 60 Seconds. There's a lot of men in their car films. So it was definitely the zeitgeist at the time. And the thing I noticed about the film. To be honest, I don't remember seeing it the first time. I remember maybe watching it, getting into it later on in life. I don't remember seeing it when it first came out. I think I must have caught it on a rerun on TV and then got into all the other films. I remember catching up with maybe the first 3 or 4 and then watching the rest live. So I think I missed that initial phase of it where Bobby was out, buying engine oil from shops and things. I do remember noticing mid-film, and again, I'm jumping ahead here, but there's a scene in which they're all in Dom's house for a house party after Dom's been rescued by Brian, and Letty's playing. She's playing on PlayStation, I think, and she's playing a video game, and it looked to me like Gran Turismo.
Oh, yeah.
And that's kind of what got me back into the films. I played a lot of Gran Turismo on the PlayStation, and I really enjoyed the tuning aspect of Gran Turismo. And I wonder if that just kind of love of playing around with the car engines has got me back into the films. But we'll come on to that later on. Did you feel like it was an authentic film? Did it feel authentic to you, or did it feel a little bit ridiculous?
I think at the time it felt pretty authentic, but as I started watching it again last night, I realised that it's just completely ridiculous.
It is. I mean,
it's actually so stupid.
They should have called it the Loose and Fast with a Plot, shouldn't they, rather than the Fast and Furious? Yeah. Really, because I mean, I felt like, well, okay, let's get your opinion on this, chaps. How did you feel about Brian's relationship with the police in this film? On not just at the end where he turns on the police, but we haven't done a spoiler warning, but I'm assuming people have seen this film now. But just your general feeling about how his interactions with his bosses in that kind of, I don't know, like C-top hideout they had. What were your feelings on that?
Let me just get this out of the way off the bat, right? I started watching it last night. And for anyone who knows my thoughts on the new Superman movie that James Gunn did, where in the cinema, about 20 minutes in, I was shaking my head in my hands, and I thought, I never want to see this again.
I was behind him when he was doing that.
He was behind me, yeah. It was because they were the only two seats left in.
Yeah, I wasn't literally sitting underneath him.
Yeah, exactly. And also John's a creep. So what happened was I got up to the bit where Brian loses that drag race, and Vin Diesel's, he's like, right, okay, well, he's checking his car out, and it's like, you've fried your pistons and this and that.
Yeah.
And I switched it off. I was like, I can't do this anymore. I just can't do it.
Why did you feel that was unauthentic?
It was like his reaction as well. It was like, you fried your pistons, and then Paul Walker's like, yeah. It literally looked like, have you ever seen the parody of this film? They did all those parody films, like they did a parody of, what I did last summer. They did a parody of this one, right? And in that moment, I thought, this actually looks like the parody that they're going to do of this film in a few years' time.
You've been spoiled by SNL. That's a problem, Bobby.
I just thought it was, I was like, I can't, Ja Rule being Ja Rule, and they're so on the nose with it. I know I'm not answering your question about the cops, so come on to that.
That's all right.
But Ja Rule, I've obviously got a lot I need to get off my chest now.
I think this is therapy teaching, mate.
But the thing is, I worship this movie. I thought it was one of the best car movies ever made. One of the best movies ever made.
You were innocent. You didn't know.
Young and freaking stupid.
I mean, Ja Rule was the OG Ludacris, wasn't he? Basically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Later on. Yeah.
But like they played not one, not two, but three of his songs, right? During that whole sort of street racing bit, right?
Yeah.
And then and then it's like, so he's got his girlfriend or whatever she is, and she gets her baps out and then sticks his hand and is like, if win or lose, these are all yours.
These are yours.
So I'm kind of thinking, putting myself in that position, well, that's not a bad deal, because if I win, right, I get boffed, and if I don't win, I get boffed anyway. So it's like, who cares, right? But then she points at the other chick across and is like, but if you win, right, you get her too. Okay, fine, done deal, right? He loses, and then he goes to her, and she tells him to F off, N-word, right? You're not getting any of this, you lost. So she kind of reneged on the whole freaking
breach
deal.
Of contract, breach of verbal contract.
Totally breach of contract, right? The other thing as well, you can't really do, even as useless as our cops are, you can't really get up to much like dodgy stuff in this city.
This was 2001.
Until a uniformed cop comes along. I don't remember seeing a single uniformed cop in that movie. right?
There
the
was-
only cops in that movie that are trying to hunt down this gang that are they're not like, it's not cocaine, it's not like freaking, you know, any of that sort of gangster shit. They're
combo
basically
TV
stealing
VCRs.
Combo TV
DVD.
VCRs, right? Do you remember those from when
That
we
made
were
me laugh.
kids?
That made
Right?
me laugh.
VCRs and DVD players, right? Maybe
How
some
that was
car
worth
stereos
£10
were in
million,
there.
I don't
Yeah,
know.
£6 million by the
exactly.
end.
Yeah,
Dollars.
that's it. So, and they announced themselves to the truckers, but by putting a fucking green light under their, sorry, I swore, by putting a green light underneath their
everyone
black
likes a bit of
Hondas. So they get
RGB,
black
mate.
Hondas. They get black Hondas all tricked out. They make sure all the parts, everything are black, so that they're stealth mode at night time. And then they put a massive green light under each of them, so that
'cause
the
they were
lorry
street
driver can
races.
see where they're coming, right? But again, where are the cops? There's no uniformed cops. The cops that they've got to investigate this shit show are the FBI, right? Like, I mean, those guys shouldn't be all the way over in LA investigating, you know, this sort of street crime stuff. They deal with other stuff, right? Like Uber bombers, the Unabombers and all of that kind of thing, right? And also, where the hell I'm just about to fork out 1,200 quid to drop my G87, to get spacers, to put a freaking oil filter cover underneath, and do some other stuff to it, right? But I can't just drop like $10,000 like this, that,
You
every
can,
other
though,
day,
Bobby, if you're
modding my
nicking
car.
$6 million of VCRs.
This is not the forum to talk about my net worth, John, okay? Right? But generally speaking, you can't... These guys, they're college dropouts. What does Dominic Toretto do? Dominic Toretto,
VCRs.
he owns a sandwich shop. He owns a sandwich
It's
shop
a front, though, isn't it? It's a
that
front,
sells
isn't it?
bad tuna sandwiches, right?
That's the kind of job satisfaction that I'm looking for.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's exactly it.
Bobby, can I just answer your
So I'll
your
shut
complaint?
up now. But there's a lot wrong with this, seriously.
Let me answer your complaint
Point
about...
Break. I saw Point Break for
I know,
the
it is
first
Point Break
time a
on
year
wheels,
ago.
isn't
I
it?
saw
It's
Point
Point Break on
Break
wheels.
for the first time 12 months ago, right?
Wow. What, the original one?
The original one with Keanu Reeves and Patrick Swayze, God rest his soul.
Yeah.
And that film is a masterpiece compared to this.
Female director as well.
Yeah. So there we go. The thing I did like most about this, though, is Michelle Rodriguez. She's
good, isn't it?
Smoking.
To be fair, old Jordana Bruce is pretty good as well, isn't she?
She is, but you see, here's the other thing. You asked me about his relationship with his superiors, right? They're like she's a minor in this, and he buffs her. She's the connection between, like, he's what he uses to get into this gang and get to her brother, right? He's a cop. He should not be having sex with a minor. What the hell is all that
How old is she
about?
meant to be in this film then? She was 20. She was
only meant to
21,
be-
I think, at the time.
When she filmed it, but like Vin Diesel's 34 when this is filmed. He's playing a 24-year-old, right? Okay. She's meant to be like 16, 17. A minor in the United States is what, under 21?
Yeah.
Yeah, see? Yeah. There you go. She's only meant to be like 16 or 17. Hang on, I'll look it up. You two carry on because I'm not even hosting tonight.
It's all right. Just to answer your question about their conversation about the damaged vehicle at the beginning. I mean, again, the Vibe article talks about Estevez.
By the way, I'm not the only person to have searched this, right?
Yeah, I know.
I've just typed, how old is MI? And it's just completed it with Mia in Fast and Furious 1.
That could just be your searches, Bobby.
No, it's not, because I've never searched this before. Anyway, sorry, I'll shut up now. Carry on.
So
20.
There's a bit in the article where he's been doing some racing and sets a new record in his car, but he's overdone it a little bit, and he's driving along with the writer of the article and says, "Do you hear that fluttering?" And it says he checks off a list of problems. Well, that's just one thing. The headers are leaking. We need to weld a differential to put more power to the ground. Remap the computer. Every time I find another problem with the car, it makes me happier. When I fix it, it means I'll go even faster. So he knows, even from the sound of the vehicle in this article, what's wrong with his car, and he knows they do some really. I mean, as a car lover yourself, Bobby, he does some really crazy things. They even show a photograph of his rebuilt '92 Civic engine, and he's doing things like welding in enlarged tubes called headers to loop around the top of the engine bay, which with the the turbochargers just like boost output. So they're doing some really crazy things with the engines, and I think that's what they're trying to get in this film, especially with Jesse. The college dropout you're telling about, with that hilarious pre-rendered wireframe footage of his car with the wheels coming off. They're for them, the cars are characters, aren't they? In the film, they're kind of like almost like his Dark Materials demons. They're all parts of their soul almost. So for me, I like that aspect of it, and I liked kind of the collectability of the cars. I was going through and checking out all the different cars that people were using and finding them on them. There's a fan site for Fast and Furious that you can go on, which lists all the vehicles and who used them. There's a whole table about who used what car. If you're interested, so I can always tell you what that is when you ask.
The Fast and Furious is the reason why I worked my way to the Supra. That was always the goal for me.
It was the Mark IV he was using, wasn't it, in the film?
That's right.
Yeah.
So very much it's Supra.
Yeah, I mean, you can't buy a good example of one of those for less than 50, 60 grand now. That is crazy. So what did I do? I spent 60 grand on the Mark V instead.
Good investment.
Well, yeah, it was. I had it for 2 years and it was great. It was a fantastic car, infinitely tunable. But I think that is the point, that the cars are kind of like characters in their own right. And in the real world, I always say a car is the extension of the owner's personality. So, it's really funny with the G87 community that we've built up on the channel over the last year or so. Everyone's got a different view on, like, we all own the same car, right? We own the BMW M2 G87, right? But everybody's attitude towards their own personal vehicle in terms of their sort of paint wheel combination, the things that they're going to do to their car and the mods that they're going to do. I mean, certainly with the mods that I've done to my car, what I've done, my car is my car. When I step out and I look at it on the drive, the mods that I've done to it, it's all me. The things that I've got planned for it, it's it's me. It's an extension of me. It says something about some side of my personality. And when I'm on the road, it is like, do you remember what was the Xbox racing game called? Forza. Where you picked up kudos, right? Yeah. And so everyone that owns like a pretty cool car and is into the modding culture and that sort of thing, you also do it. I don't care what anyone says. You do it so that when you're driving around, people pull up alongside you and wind their windows down and are putting their thumbs up and are asking you about it and want to take pictures of it and are telling you like, oh man, your ride is so cool. I love what you've done to it. That's what it's all about. And I think that is part of the charm of the early Fast and Furious movies. That's for sure.
Yeah, I mean, it moved from cars to family, didn't it? It moved away from the vehicles to much more the people.
Yeah,
as well as the stunts and the stunts.
Sort of went to quite a cool. By number 5 was quite a gear change.
Well, it became a formulaic franchise. Yeah.
But then it started to get ridiculous after like number 8.
Well, we'll talk about that later on the films. Yeah. Alex, let's talk about what holds up, and I think the stunts in this film hold up really well. In fact, there are a couple of stunts I think broke records, or the first times. Especially like the truck hijack sequences. Yes. There's a couple of times in there where Lenny she drives underneath the carriage of the articulated truck carriage. I think at the time, I mean, terribly dangerous thing to do.
Takes your breath away, doesn't it? Yeah, it takes your breath away. And that actually, to be fair, while there's a lot to criticize and a lot that's completely unrealistic, a lot of the scenes in the cars, like really, you're on the edge of your seat.
Yeah.
And, so that actually did carry me through the film, because the thing is that, yes, there's some dialogue and stuff, but it's really about the cars, and even to the end, even to the bit where they're where Dom and Brian are racing down that quarter mile to the train, and it's absurd, but also it's just like so well done that you're by the end of it, by the moment you're thinking, oh, are they going to make it? You're really rooting for them, and that for me is what wins me over on this film. It's not the realism. It's not about that. It's not about the gang culture, and it's but it's also, I mean, and yes, it's horribly dated, but yeah, it's just the cars actually, and the action scenes are really good. What's really funny, so Bobby mentioned this earlier about the police. So I forgot that he was undercover. And about halfway through, when he sort of checks in and I'm like, oh yeah, oh that's right.
He's doing a good job then, isn't he?
Yeah, well, this is the thing, and then I immediately forgot he was undercover again, to the point when he goes and tells Mia. At which point I'm like, oh my god, you're telling, what's wrong with you? And then it just, so the thing is, there's so many ridiculous bits in it. But what's funny is like the police is like not part of this film at all. It's meant to carry it across, and it just doesn't.
His undercover name is really stupid as well.
More time than the police do.
Yeah, his undercover. So his surname's Spillner. Brian Spillner. Right? Like where the hell did they come up with that? It was like, let's work out what's your undercover name going to be. You need a what do you call it, an alias or whatever, but it needs to be something that you can remember, you can get into character and so on. And Brian's just kind of looking around like the room, and they've got some serial killer's file just lying randomly on some desk. And he's like, yeah, that'll do. Spillner.
I mean, they should have just called him Brian Poindexter, shouldn't they? Really, you know, to be honest.
It's also like pick the whitest name you can.
Yeah.
Because
and speaking of the whitest name, right?
Latinas.
Speaking of the whitest name, right? I mean, you've got Aryan, absolutely beautiful, piercing blue eyes, blonde hair, Hitler's freaking, poster child, Paul Walker. What a beautiful guy. But yeah, I mean the whitest of whites amongst.
He was a Californian surf dude, wasn't he? Basically.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
God rest his soul.
I think that works really well. I think the bromance, the chemistry between Brian and Dom worked really well in this film, and that was really believable as well. You know, and the way. Sorry, Karen.
Oh, I was going to say it was kind of simmering underneath, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It was like it's like a slow cooker. And that was but what was quite nice is that by the end of it you knew they were both on the same page, like they both got that they all had their own issues and stuff, but this beat that, this trumped that.
And I think I think there were so many aspects of this that were dated. I think a lot of the racing effects hold up now, and then you can spot a bit of green screenage behind the window as they're going past the windows, and there's a few shots going through the tunnels that were very dodgy. But I do think that the director the director of photography had some really good action angles and shots. All the changing of the gears and the pedals and the shots behind the laptop looking up at Brian. They knew their stuff. I mean, it added to the pace and the tension of the races. I thought that still held up really well. I also thought that the way they introduced Brian into this group, and with Vince, who was kind of his nemesis in the group, wasn't he? Vince, played by Matt Schultz, who I thought was a really interesting character, actually. How initially, when he sees Vince and how Vince reacts, he thinks the whole crew are a bunch of wrong-uns. But what I liked was just a little, slowly dawning realizations from Brian that these people had honor and integrity, and that lends itself to how he changed his attitude towards them. Little things like when they're at the infamous barbecue table, which is through every single film. I love that. Going back and looking at that, knowing it is exactly the same, despite their house blowing up in one of the films later on. Sorry, spoiler. That is just that plot is the same throughout all the films, and it was nice seeing it again.
By the way, that's what barbecues at my house are like. Exactly like that.
Too much paraffin, mate.
I'm wearing a white t-shirt. I always sit at the head of the table, and then someone's late, and I tell them to grab a piece of chicken and sit the fuck down.
Well, that's it. But Jesse steals the first bit of chicken, so he makes him to say grace.
And then
and Brian, it looks back to Brian's like, oh, hey, these guys are good guys after all, And that was I thought that was kind of teased out quite nicely.
Well, the thing is, because they introduced these people, they should be the villains of the piece, right?
Yeah.
Because they're the thieves and that, right? But then they introduce the triad lot Johnny Tran
yeah.
and his gang. And so they're even worse because they use automatic weapons, and so like these guys don't use guns or anything, whereas Johnny Tran's lot are, you know, running around with Uzi 9mm or whatever the hell they are, SMGs, whatever, and they're even worse, and so we don't like them. But I mean, Johnny Tran is the one who talks about family and how family matters, right? Dom doesn't talk about family at all. Dom is all about, I live my life a quarter mile at a time, and like, you know, when I'm on the road, I'm free, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. He doesn't care about anybody else. Like, nothing matters. For those 10 seconds, nothing matters. Not family, not this, not that, not friends, not anyone. It's just this, right? He didn't give a shit about family. They retconned that for, I guess it would be Fast and Furious 5. I think from there, that's when the whole family thing started to come along. Anyway, there we go. Timothy Olyphant was originally approached to play Dominic Toretto. And he said, he was. He was their initial choice. And he turned around and he said something like, if you can imagine this, him saying it in his Raylan Givens voice, like, no, that sounds like a really dumb movie.
The thing is, I mean, the original guy from the Vibe articles is a Dominican guy, and I think, you know, Vin Diesel can get, you know, pass as Dominican, can't he? Really? What's his?
So they'd originally, so they'd also for casting, they'd approached originally for Brian, John. Is it John Paul Gosselaar? What's his name? The guy from Saved by the Bell who played the blonde one.
No.
You remember Saved by the Bell?
No, really.
I do remember Saved by the Bell. Yeah. What's his name? John Paul what?
He's got 3 names. John Paul something. And they approached Mario Lopez for Dominic Toretto and Dustin Diamond, who was Screech or whatever his name was in Saved by the Bell. Yeah, Screech. He was approached to play the ADHD kid, Jesse or whatever his name is. Yeah. But then they backtracked on it because they were like, oh, hang on a minute, there's people just
too well known,
film and think it's like a Saved by the Bell reunion. So yeah, there we go.
It wasn't John Paul Gonzalez, was it?
No, I don't know. Can't find him. Saved by the Bell. Who's the actor?
I don't know. I mean,
you didn't watch Saved by the Bell?
I did watch Saved by the Bell, yeah, because I remember the teacher being quite famous later on as well.
John Paul.
Mark Paul Gosselaar.
Yeah, Mark Paul. Sorry.
Yes.
Not John Paul.
Not John Paul.
Yeah, I know who you mean.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I can see that. I'm looking at him now.
But anyway, so they
same smouldering looks.
So then they went to Vin Diesel. So he just kind of broke out with his little part in Saving Private Ryan, and but you know he seriously wanted to be a director. So on the set of Saving Private Ryan, he spent a lot of time with Steven Spielberg behind the camera, sort of learning the mechanics of filmmaking and all of that. Vin Diesel. Yeah. So he initially turned it down. But then he said, okay, I'll take a look at it, but we've got to make some changes. Michelle Rodriguez was offered her part. She turned it down because originally it was just like throwaway kind of girlfriend sort of thing. So that part had to be rewritten substantially. And what else? Oh, and Paul Walker, he was already signed to a 10-picture Universal deal. So he'd already been in... that movie, what is it? Takes place and it's snowing and stuff. Can't remember what it's called. Not
was it 8 Below?
I can't remember.
With the Huskies.
With the Huskies, yeah, that's it.
Yeah, it's called 8 Below. But that was 5 years after Fast and Furious. That was in 2006.
No, so then it was a different movie that he was in. But anyway, he was signed to a 10-picture deal with Universal. So in the end, they were just like, look, you just get in here and do this damn movie. So yeah, and there we go. History.
He was also in Into the Blue as a surf dude. So I was kind of right about that as well, about him looking like a surf dude. We did like touch on the style and culture of the film, the music, and you talked about Ja Rule. Was there anything else that stood out for you musically for this? Do you think it? I mean, I think they made some good choices. There was one track when it was panning over the racetrack, was the official licensed racetrack. That was kind of a dance track that was really familiar to me. Have you got your album there, your playlist?
Yeah,
there?
yeah. I'm just grabbing it.
That really, and it seemed a little bit out of place to the rest of the film. And I wonder if they were trying to hit a different vibe with that track. So I don't know if you can look that up for me, Bobby. And again, this is great content. I was googling this, but you know, film soundtracks are so important, aren't they? To especially, you know.
Oh, hell yeah! Like even in the party, the song that they're playing in the party.
Yeah.
It always sticks in my head. As soon as you mentioned that scene, that song just started playing in my head straight away.
Yeah.
It's Race Wars, if that's what you're talking about. The track is called Race Wars by
scene.
BT.
Oh, I see.
Oh, yeah, BT, no, yes. It was BT. Yeah. I had the album that had that track on it. And it's like about a 30-minute mix.
Okay, cool.
It was BT, is it IMA, something like that? It's called the album. Yeah, it was the BT track that stood out for me.
So many great songs though, because Saliva,
IMA.
Boom, Saliva's other track, Superstar, Make Me Your Superstar, yeah. But then the other CD that has all of the R&B stuff on it is also so good. Like the opening track, Good Life, Faith Evans and Ja Rule.
Yeah.
I love that song so much. Very few tracks on either soundtrack that you hit the skip button on. There's a couple boring ones, but generally really good. And also, classic Limp Bizkit's "Rolling," the Urban Assault Vehicle with DMX, Method Man. That's such a great track. Yeah.
What we haven't really mentioned yet, because obviously Tailoring Talk is the name of our podcast, but is the clothes they wear.
Or don't.
Say again?
Or don't.
Or don't talk. I mean, it was a lot of like mesh tank tops and cargo pants and neon.
Yeah, but that was typical noughties 90s style. At 90s, really. Like
it was almost 90s,
Like you wore quite fitted designer sort of tops, and then your jeans and stuff were quite sort of loose fitting, quite straight cut. And even baggy, and then you'd have like your kind of low risers that would hang around. You'd have higher boxer shorts and stuff, so you'd literally be showing your underwear off all the damn time. So it's definitely of its time from a fashion point of view.
Are there any like iconic outfits? I mean, obviously you got Dom's tops. His look is
that's it. There's nothing else to talk about.
Okay.
It is pretty nondescript, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. But also, it really feels like it was on a budget. Like,
it was the first film, wasn't it?
Yeah. But it was like the thing is they focused on money for the cars, money for the special effects. That was it. There was no other money.
I mean, if you look back, this movie does feel quite modest, doesn't it? When you think about where it's gone. Bearing in mind, I don't want to spoil the films for you, Alex, but by certain films,
has Alex never seen these?
No.
Well, I've seen 1 and 2 a long time ago, but not recently.
I won't spoil it.
Never proceeded. So
I mean, you know how in the Mission Impossible films, listen to this podcast if you haven't heard, folks. The way that every film progresses, the stunts get more and more ridiculous and more amazing. Well, the Fast and Furious have kind of done a similar thing. I mean, again, there's discussion about it almost becomes meta and like self-effacing towards the end about the ridiculousness of what goes on in the films, and that in itself that makes it quite fun to watch, really.
Even in this film, right? Okay, so they're meant to be doing a straight line drag race, 4 cars, right?
Yeah,
abreast, straight line. Did anyone try and calculate the speed that they were doing? Because they hit the NOS, and it was like they went into warp drive, right?
Yeah,
they went
the screen
than
melted, didn't it?
Exactly, the screen literally melted. Like if you try and work out the time of that scene and the speed that they're going at, right? How the hell does the crowd end up back at the finish line where they were? It just doesn't make any sense whatsoever. That's kind of not how it works in real life, right? You kind of do your straight mile, however long it is. If it's a mile, it's a mile. and then the cars turn around and they come all the way back. But these guys, it was like they magically sort of landed back.
No parachutes.
Like, did they go in a circle at some point? I don't know. And also, when you look at their driving skills must have improved at some point, because in the future they're going to be strapping rockets to cars.
Shush! Don't spoil it.
You know, launching them into different places that you wouldn't think you could launch a car into, and you know, all of that. Anyway, sorry. So we're in a Mission Impossible situation with Alex here, aren't we?
We are.
A bit, a bit, but I feel like I had a bit more knowledge in Mission Impossible, whereas here, I mean, I learned to drive when I was 28 because I lived in London, so the whole car scene is just
donuts in the car park.
Yeah, no, I mean, one of my friends was into some of that, but his highlight was a Vauxhall Nova with an enormous exhaust, which you may remember at that time. But other than that, that's as far as it went. So.
It's funny, Bob, because your comments about the speed they're going and how fast they're going reminded me of the very final paragraph of the Vibe article. Which you'll love to hear if you haven't heard it. Oddly, the makeshift dashboard cluttered with gauges, telling him everything from water pressure to fuel mixture, is missing one key thing: a speedometer. There's a good reason. When you know how fast you're going, says Estevez, punching the throttle again, then you'll slow down. And that's the final line. And I think the fact he didn't have a speedometer in his car, and they must have known that from reading the article. I mean, you see a lot more of the damage it's doing to the car in these things, don't you? You see the danger, and a lot more. Most of the times you see the dash, they're just pressing the NOS buttons, aren't they? More than anything else. And it's always a case of like someone presses it too soon, don't they? That's the main plot of this. He's pressing the button too soon, or he's pressing it too soon. Oh, he's being overtaken because he's pressed it too soon, which was used quite a lot. So, have you ever driven a car with NOS, Bobby?
No.
Because
no.
The thing about NOS is, and we're getting into car stuff here, Alex, sorry, this is why there's a scene in the film, you'll remember it, where I can't remember who it is racing against them. Is it Paul Walker, or is it Dom, or is it Leslie? I don't know. But they're racing a Ferrari, aren't they? They pull up alongside
in
a
the
Ferrari.
Supra.
In the Supra.
Yeah, they get to the lights and the guy next to them, and it's like,
he's bragging
how
with his
much
girlfriend,
was it or whatever, and he's like more than you could afford, or some stuff like that, and then they go for it.
And the thing is, like, this is the beauty of these drag racing, that you can take any small car, any unassuming banger, whack a few mods in and add the NOS, and it's like it goes like the shit off a shovel, as we say. And that was the beauty of it. It was the not knowing what the cars could do. And there's a little scene at the beginning of the film where Hector, one of the Latinos, goes up to Brian at the beginning of the film and says, "You're going to show us what's in the boot," and he says, "No." You're trying to keep it secret, but and then Dom turns up and spills the beans and opens it up. But again, if you're a bit of a petrol head, those sort of things are really cool, because if you go to car meets, the first thing that happens is all the bonnets are up, and people are looking at the cars, aren't they?
Not only that, the guy that goes, it's the dialogue in the film, right? So the guy goes up to him and introduces, like, my name's Hector, last name, like, no one knows how to pronounce it, but they call me Hector. They call me Hector, but your name is literally Hector. Not they call me Hector. Your name is Hector. You know what I mean? It's not like your real name is like I don't know, freaking Bruce or something, but they call me Hector. It's like, my name is your name is Hector. They call me Hector. Yeah. Apparently, the guy because Seth Rogen was on the How Did This Get Made podcast, and he mentioned this movie because he said, no, was it? It wasn't Seth Rogen. It was the host of the one of the hosts of the How Does This Get Made podcast, and he said he actually worked with that Latino actor, and he believes that line, like, my last name, no one knows how to pronounce it, they call me Hector, was improvised, because it says that's something that guy would do.
It was very natural if you did it, though. It's quite funny.
Yeah, no, it was really good. I mean, I've seen him in other stuff as well. He's a great kind of character actor.
Yeah.
Yeah, can't remember his name, but anyway.
There's some other good quotes in the film. I like the we wanted a 10-second car, not a 10-minute car. I think things like that. I think that is quite quotable, and there's been quite a few Dom memes flying around since the film started. Okay, for the final few minutes of our podcast, because we're going to be wrapping up soon, gents. Alex, this is the beauty of this question now, because you've not seen many other films. What are you looking forward to or predicting is going to be happening in the next few films? So go beyond what you know. All right.
Because actually, Alex, go the boundaries of your imagination.
Yeah, there's nothing. No.
There are
mate.
none. There are no boundaries. Okay.
Give us some predictions.
Go as wild
all the people
as
who've
you want.
seen this franchise. This is like
pretend you're a 5-year-old that's just snorted a bunch of powder.
So I think
go for it.
there's going to be a full-blown bromance between Dom and Brian, like full-blown. I think that everyone is going to sleep with everyone else's partners for some reason. Like I don't know why, but I think that'll probably happen. I think maybe Vince will have a because we never see what happens in Vince. So I think he'll have a bionic arm, like
the Winter Soldier.
Yeah. So thank you for qualifying. So yeah. So I think there's that. I think there's going to be a lot more hip hop stars, a lot more rap stars in this film. I think that's a given. Not a lot of bling, and I feel like a lot of bling is coming because I don't know why, but I just feel like the cars get better. Do you mean as the
clothes bling or car bling?
So I think both, but I think definitely car bling, and then I think you're definitely going to be like in a casino or in an outrageous location, because I feel like it'll be like Fast and Furious doing Bond. So, and also we haven't really had a proper heist. Like, so I feel like there's a heist coming. I just don't know what it is. And there's the one spoiler that I do know, which is cars in space.
Okay.
Which I'm looking forward to, and I don't care why it's just cars in space. So,
well, we were trying to skirt around that earlier on, weren't we, Bobby?
I figured you were trying to avoid that, but you could. The thing is, you can't really talk about it because I haven't seen it, so I just know that it occurred, but it didn't make me want to watch it at the time. So I think that probably answers.
Here's a clue, Alex. The worldwide gross takings of all the entire franchise, and this is as of 2024, is $7.4 billion.
It's nuts, isn't it?
Wow.
So you think about how much it's taken and what they could do with that wonga, that dinero.
Quite a lot,
all right?
Yeah, quite a lot they could do. Yeah. No, I mean, I'm fully expecting, because it's a US focus initially. I think they're going to go worldwide.
Okay.
Obviously, they go to Tokyo because of one of the films, but yeah. So I think that's what I'm expecting. What about you guys?
Actually, I mean, the Tokyo.
We've seen it. I haven't seen number 10 yet.
Are you expecting it?
No, you've not. And there's an 11th one coming out, isn't there?
Yeah.
You're saying so because 10 does leave on hangover.
I think they will. If those do well as well, they'll look to just continue this thing. I mean, can you imagine?
Can we talk about that at the end?
Can you imagine telling those guys, right, those young actors, listen, you're still going to be making these movies in 30 years' time.
when they have to retake their eye test so they can drive.
And still pretend you're in your 30s.
Yeah.
Nice. We probably so what did you think about the ending? Because there's canon about a different ending, isn't there?
I thought the ending of this film was really good. It had it had some heart, and I think by that time Brian can't go back. He's in love with the girl. He's kind of he's kind of able to cash in his cop chips one last time to save his now friend. And, where's he going to go from here? Alex will find out at the beginning of the next movie.
Well, I know where he's going to go because I saw the prelude to Too Fast, Too Furious, which is on YouTube.
What was that after the film?
Yes. But I watched it afterwards, yeah. But because what I wanted to do is to see how do we get between movie 1 and movie 2, and in the other thing is I totally missed the post credits scene until someone said, "Oh, have you watched it?" And I was like, "No, what post credits scene?" and then I had to go back and watch that. So
you'll need to explain that because I missed that. And I've seen it, but I can't remember what it was.
so basically, Dom goes to Baja.
Oh, okay.
Because
they did talk about him on the beach.
He
Him and Letty going to the beach.
Yeah. So then he says the quote about like living life quarter of a mile at a time, which again, on its own, feels completely random and like, yes, I know it's his quote, but it didn't make any sense because it's just him driving in the beach, and I was like, okay.
Sorry, where was this end after credit scene?
So basically, after the credits, there's a scene where which basically wraps up Vin Diesel and the fact that he got to Mexico.
Really?
Yeah.
I've seen this film like 30 times, and
I'm going back to the film now to try and find it.
Yeah, the original Fast and the Furious has a brief end credit scene showing Dominic driving alone in a red Chevelle on a desolate road in Baja. Oh my god!
Exactly it. And then what? Because what piqued my interest was then there was a comment that said alternative version, and then it talks about how basically Brian goes to Mia and says like I trying to get you back or something, and then she says, oh, it's going to take a long time, and then he says, well, I've got all the time now because I'm no longer a cop or something like that, which I can't find online, which is a shame. But and then
it might be in the.
Sorry, go on.
I'll say it might be on the iTunes extras somewhere.
If you've got it on the iTunes extras, that's great. Yeah. I've only got a couple of trailers, but it was one of those things that I was like, oh, okay, and then that led me to, well, how does he get out of that? And then the prelude, which you can watch before you watch Too Fast, Too Furious, shows you how Brian gets out of his job and escapes. So I'll let you watch that, but I'm not making it up. They literally tried to wrap it up and everything.
Oh yeah, I'm just watching the scene at the end now. Yeah. It actually says the name of the place, like a location name, Baja.
Yeah.
Well, there you go.
So
I don't think I've ever seen that before. It's a good job you came along to this podcast, Alex.
Yeah,
see, I never knew research.
I literally, obviously, like when the film finishes, I let the credits run like through some of the first song, and then I just switch it off. But I'd never ever, I didn't even know that. My God, my mind is blown. Now I'm gonna have to go watch the damn movie.
I can also.
So by the way, earlier for nobody that's listening, because there's no one here apart from us. So 20 minutes in, what did I do? I switched it off and I went and watched Superman, the James Gunn movie. And do you know what? Watching it second time, I actually really enjoyed it. And I was able to catch some of the dialogue that I missed in the cinema. And actually, do you know what? I think I need to change my rating for that film. Didn't I give it 8?
I think it will grow on you. 7. The more you watch it, I think it will grow on you.
Man, that film's it's not as good as maybe the original.
You really laid into that.
I know.
You really weren't happy, and we were all like, "What are you talking about? It's not that bad."
I really, I kind of like it now. I'm going to force Carolina. I'm going to tie her to a chair and put toothpicks in her eyes to hold her eyes open, and I'm going to force her to watch it. It's a really good movie. I really like him as a Superman. He's human, and that is the point.
Yeah.
Anyway, sorry.
Shall we wrap up then, gents?
The only other thing.
Are we doing ratings?
Yeah, we are.
So we need to do box office, Alex. Have you got the box office?
No, I can get the box office, but the only other thing is, do you know what model of Combi VCR it was?
No, it's a
Panasonic, right?
So it's a Panasonic Omnivision. It was a PVM 939.
Hold on, he's doing
it was
the gadget.
The only gadget I had to do. It was there's bugger all else in this film, and I couldn't do
it. It's not the Bondathon, dude.
Never mind. But anyway,
he takes it
I was
seriously.
like,
Alex,
I wonder what that is. There was a computer
Just
somewhere, but I gave up. Anyway, I'm still trying.
Can you imagine if we did like Harry Potter or something and be like, Well, in Ollivander's wand shop, there was
Yeah,
the
still doing it.
elder wand, and there was this one,
mechanical
and then
cash
this other
register.
one that was
I
made
think you're
from
gonna have to give
the
me-
arse end of a willow tree.
I think you're going to have to give me a purpose, like, in this. You'll have to say,
Alex, to be
like,
fair-
you're on cars or you're on
Yeah.
special effects, and then I can be
Okay.
like, oh, right, cool.
Later in the later films, there are plenty of gadgets to keep you happy, guaranteed.
Okay, good. That's fair enough then.
Yeah.
And
And you still got box office.
The budget was so it says the budget was for $38 million estimated.
Wow, that's cheap.
And
Whoa.
then
Well, that's
they said,
2001, though, isn't it?
Yeah, if it adjusted for inflation, wouldn't that
And
be
double
closer
that for
to like
marketing as
100
well. To
million?
be fair. Is that including
Yeah, yeah.
marketing?
probably not. So you probably
No,
add
so
to it.
double that
But
for
the
marketing then.
the grossed in the US and Canada, they grossed 145 million, which is pretty good, damn good.
Very
And then worldwide, it was 207 million. So this raked it in. So there was no risk of there not being a sequel for this.
Yeah.
Yeah,
their
they,
opening
they
weekend,
made the
like,
production
broke them
budget
even.
back in like the first 2 days of
That's
release.
it. Yeah, the opening weekend covered
Wow.
the entire budget, which is pretty good sign. So, yeah. Anyway, so yeah, it did well. Is the short answer.
Well, thank you very much. Let's do our
That's it.
ratings then.
Ratings. Oh,
I haven't set up a
can you
spreadsheet
go
or anything.
first?
Sorry.
Can you go
I have to remember
first,
this.
John? I think you should.
I'm gonna give this
because you can
one-
give us the criteria for it.
Yeah, well, I'm going to have to write this down on paper and pencil. Yeah, look, I've got paper and pen and
Oh,
I've got a
okay.
spreadsheet.
Old school.
Dear, oh dear. Right, so I think, I mean, you just got to give it an overall rating out of 10 with the vibe that you watch. I mean, Bobby's going to have a bit of a trick doing this because he didn't watch it recently, but he's going to do it from memory, I guess. I'm going to give this one a solid 7.
Ooh, that's quite high.
Yeah, I like. Well, do you know what? I enjoyed it all the way through. I wasn't bored. I didn't look at my watch or my screens.
Okay.
A lot of that was nostalgia as well. Just to enjoy the nostalgia. It lost points from too much of the male gaze shots in the first half of the film, and I think they needed to
Reduces sex
explore
scenes.
more of Vince. Yeah, and the groping bit,
Yeah.
wasn't necessary, was it really? Let's be honest. But yeah, it's
was
good,
of his
solid 7
age.
out of 10. Good starting score. Can go up and go down. How about you, Roberto?
So if you'd asked me this question 20 years ago, I'd have said this a 9.5 out of 10. But I'll coalesce around a 7 because it's like, it's not a terrible movie. I think, it did what it needed to do. I think it was a great achievement under the circumstances, and look what it was the catalyst for. Endless movies of stupidity.
Yeah. Well, you're in for, as you said before, you're in for a good ride, Alex. There's some fun
Right,
going on
good.
there.
But it really captured the imagination at the time, and I think even to this day as well. I mean, you still see on forums and stuff people talking about this film like 25 years later, nearly. It's crazy, and it really kind of ignited the careers of Vin Diesel and Paul Walker. So yeah, I'd say a 7 out of 10. I think it's a bit tricky when you know what's coming.
Yeah.
Right.
Because in our minds, I'm sure you did the same as well, John.
Yeah.
If we'd not seen these films, the rating might have been a little different. But yeah, I'd say a 7 out of 10. It's a good, solid start to a franchise that we never knew was going to exist and take over our lives. Alex.
Okay, so I don't have a measure to sort of gauge where it is amongst the ones to come.
Exactly.
But the thing is, I think we've all been quite generous for it. I don't think I can be as generous because it didn't hook me in at the start in the first time round.
Sorry, I need to interject. Alex, hold that thought. Bernardo is still here. Thank you, by the way, for hanging out with us. He gives it a 7.5.
Right, I'm going to put Bernardo's
I'm going to
score
show
down.
it. Look, I've got this feature. I can show things on the actual stream. Made the 90s car scene mainstream and launched a passion for a generation. Do you know what? My age group, that film is probably part of the reason why we are so into our cars. So yeah, spot on. Yeah,
Okay.
I was thinking about 7.5, but I think we'll let Bernardo have 7.5.
Yeah.
I'll stick at my 7.
Alex?
I think for me that it's got the number that I was thinking of, and it's not 7. I think it would be 5 out of 10.
What?
So I don't think it's awful, because I think it was quite watchable. I think some of it was enjoyable. I think it's just of its time, and I think it's just not an area that I'm quite into yet. I feel like I'm really going to get involved in it as it gets on. So I think as we get on, I'm going to be getting more enthused about it. So
I think it's
that's
going to be
my hope.
interesting seeing our different points of view to a fresh viewer to us having seen the franchise, which is going to be good. Okay, let me wrap up then, gents. Next time we're going to be tackling Too Fast, Too Furious. That's the one where Tyrese shouts the most of the film. So make sure you subscribe, folks. If you've enjoyed this episode, leave us a review. Share it with your fellow petrol heads. Let us know your favourite Fast and Furious memories. And until then, keep it fast, keep it furious, and maybe ease up on the NOS. Gents, farewell.
Bye, guys.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.